Now, um, so Air Force, we've turned the page, obviously, to prepare for this game. But obviously, I'm really proud of our guys the way we played Saturday, and showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, a lot of effort. We finished, but this is a totally different challenge this week for us, and we've had a couple really good days of preparation so far, and I was pleased with the effort that we gave today in practice this morning with this team. It's always interesting to see how the guys are going to come in, how they're going to come in to work, on a Monday after a game, any game, win, lose or draw. And so yesterday I felt the focus and the sense of urgency that I was looking for with this group of guys. Talking to the coaches on both sides of the ball, they all agreed that guys that we didn't really feel didn't sense any type of complacency or anything like that, which was good to see. And then today, though we had a hard physical, Tuesday practice, with the type of effort that we were looking for and the focus on our opponent and just really getting after it. And so that's those are things you have to do on to prepare week in and week out. And it takes what it takes. That's non-negotiable. And so at this point in the week, I think we're doing the things that we need to do to prepare, for a game. So, the day's still young, so there's still more that we can do today, even coaches and players, and it does matter. What we do, behavior precedes success. So what we do does have an effect on what happens on the game day. So.
To follow up on your statement, after such an emotional win, did you find it difficult at all to reel in your players and get them focused on the task at hand after the 24-hour celebration window?
It wasn't difficult this week. It wasn't difficult on Monday. So I didn't sense that. I was looking for that. You know, we all are. I mean, that's just human nature is to relax. I mean, it's what we're doing is not always the easiest thing to do. And so leaders have to step up and you know discipline is 75% anticipation, right? So we tell them ahead of time, you got 24 hours. Okay, enjoy the win. Make sure you come in here, ready to work, and so and this is what needs to be done, and lay it out so they can follow the plan. And so at this point, I feel like the plan is being followed, and that's really all I can ask.
We talked to a couple of players, and they've talked about, we've asked them if the team is taking on Mel Tucker's personality and that. What has Mel Tucker learned from coaching first two games and about the young men he has playing for him?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, before the first radio show, Mark asked me, before the Colorado State game, he asked me, he says, what is the one thing you want to know, you're looking forward to find out about your team? And I said, I want to know how they're going to handle adversity, because we haven't had any. Really, we try to create adverse situations in practice by the intensity in which we practice and the sense of urgency and attention to detail on a day-to-day basis. Day in and day out, it's not easy to do. So there's ups and downs, and I've seen guys respond. So I thought that they would respond well to adversity. We talk about momentum swings and creating your own momentum and the pendulum swinging back and forth in games, and how do you respond, the words you use, how do you talk, how do you behave, play the next play. But to actually see them do it in the game, I know that that they understand that. And it's just a matter of if when those things happen, because it's inevitable. Every game, there's some type of momentum swing. How are you going to respond? And so I know that these guys believe in what we're doing, and I know that they will play hard for each other. I know they're unselfish. I know that it's important to them, and I know that they understand the magnitude of the situation, that we don't get that many opportunities to actually play games. We prepare entire off season, 9 weeks of strength and conditioning, spring ball, 5 weeks of spring ball, and then go into our summer program and then go through camp, and then you just only have so many opportunities to play. And so I feel like our players understand that.
So Mel, there's a lot of coaches on your staff, including yourself, that have gone against triple option offenses. I know they're different, like Georgia Tech's different from Air Force, but guys have gone against it. So number one, how much can that help? Like Tyson's even gone against Air Force. How much can that help that you guys have done it? But number two, what's the challenge in taking your staff's knowledge and transferring it to the players?
Yes, it's not what you know, it's what the players know and what they can execute in the fourth quarter. So it's so true. But it does help to have experience going against the option, because we know what to expect. We know what the challenges are, how we have to practice. But just because we have coached against it before, that doesn't mean that it's automatic. There's just so much work that has to be done. We put in a lot of work already preparing for this opportunity, and so there's nothing fun about it. When the way we practice, generally is taxing on our players. It has to be, because we would like to make our practices harder than the games. That's the goal. We're not quite there yet, but we're working to get there. But when you are preparing for a team like Air Force, the look that you get from your scout team is critical. We have to get the same or similar look that we're going to get on Saturday, and we live cut in practice with our players. Just like Air Force is going to do. They're going to cut us in the game. We cut them in practice. So there's nothing fun about that. And we got to go full speed, and we got to run, and we got to hit. We got to get off blocks. We got to stay alive. We got to stay in the hunt. We got to get to the ball. We got to swarm to the ball. We got to be disciplined. Our eyes got to be where they got to be, And you got to have a guy on the dive. You got to have a guy on the quarterback. Got to have a guy on the pitch. You got to have your eyes where they're supposed to be, and you got to be on top of it every play, because everyone's at the point of attack every play, and so that's how we have to practice, And so, that's what we're doing right now.
How do you have your scout team run an option offense that most of them have never played before, and now they've got to run it to the proficiency of the guys who have run it for the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, they got to study the tape and get it done. Just you see it on tape and do what you see, do it to the best of your ability, and take pride in it. We have a team, and everyone has a role. Everyone has a role to play, whatever the role is. You go to a Broadway musical, Broadway play, and guy may have one role, might not have any lines, may just come walk across the stage with a broom, sweep the floor, and walk off the other side. That's his role. But if he doesn't do that, then you don't have a show. And so that's what we have to. Everyone's got to pitch in and do their job, play their role for the team to the best of their ability.
Mel, on the staffs you've been on, how have you kind of navigated quote-unquote trap games emotionally that people put this in? Because at this level, kids can be so emotional, and you've made a point to try to keep everybody level-headed. But people are going to point to this as a trap game. How have you navigated that on staffs, OSU, with Coach Saban, whomever in the past, and what do you tell these guys about keeping a level head?
So I think that you have to be totally uninformed and to not know what this is all about when you're playing a team like Air Force. I mean, you have to be totally clueless to get caught off guard by a team like this. So this particular game I don't see as a trap game, not this particular game, because I think everyone in America, anyone in the world who knows anything about football knows that when you play Air Force, you better strap it up. Man, they know what the heck they're doing. They got talented guys that are tough, that are physical, that are disciplined, and they attack people, and they get after it, and their belief factor is at the highest level. So if we don't realize that, shame on us.
How does their defense complement that offense that throws a lot of teams off? Where can Air Force hurt you on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I tell you what, they got some really good defensive ends. They can rush the passer. Their secondary has experience and they've got talent. They have really good size and length, and they do attack and they do pressure. They're not a bend but don't break unit. They get after it, try to create minus yardage plays. They're multiple in their schemes, and so they have a good football team. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Offense, defense, special teams, and you see it every week, right? Everyone's got players. Everyone's got players. We've got players. Air Force has players, and so it's going to really come down to execution and running and hitting. Making plays. Being disciplined, playing clean football. Taking care of the football, trying to take the ball away, time of possession. First downs, getting off the field on third down. It's going to be a gut check. I mean, that's what this is going to be.
Going back to your team's mentality, your players come in here, they repeat the same mantras, they attribute the success to you and your speeches. How did you get them to buy in so quickly and so deliberately this offseason?
Well, I have a great staff. This is not a one-man show by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I've got, great coaches on both sides of the ball and on special teams. Our support staff is outstanding. And so it's a group effort. We're all on the same page, which I think helps a lot. We have a united front that we present to our players in terms of our program and the expectation, the standard, protocol, how we go about our business, the culture, how we live every day. And from the first day that I got here, I mean, I posed a question to the players in the team meeting. I had a team meeting, I think Thursday morning, like 8 a.m. before our press conference. I said, hey, do we want to be relevant? Do we want to win? And they all said, yeah. I said, well, let's do what we ask you to do. And let's get after it. And so that's what we're doing right now, and it's a work in progress. It's a day-to-day thing. I mean, it's never a dull moment. We can never get bored with the fundamentals of what it takes to get the job done. But I give credit to the players that everyone wants to win, I think. would like to win, but everyone's not willing to do what it takes to be in a position to win. And give credit to our players that they're willing to do that. They're willing to lay it on line, and if you want to give some punches and deliver some punishment, you got to be willing to take some too, and they're willing to do that.
Jackson faced a lot of adversity earlier in his football career with injuries. What have you seen from him since you took over that put him in a position to be able to go out there and make a couple big plays?
Yeah, J-Jax is a good player, and he's explosive, and he works hard, and he gets after it, and I mean he doesn't really say a whole lot now. He comes to work every day, comes to practice every day, and he puts his best foot forward. And he's working to get better, and he competes. And when he gets opportunities, he makes the most of them. That's what I've seen from him, and I think that says a lot about his character, and his desire, just his internal motivation to get better every day and to be a player, and help our football team. And so, I'm pulling for him, just like I am all these guys. I mean, guys want to be good. Guys want to be good players, and it's not easy, but he's willing to put the work in to get that done. So, I hope, I'm sure he's going to continue to do so.
How timely is it that the Army-Michigan game, and does that help you in emphasizing how different service academies are when you come to play them, even though I'm sure no one got to see it, they've seen the result, and also how different is Army in their offense from Air Force?
I'll say this: I haven't referenced that game with our team. We have our hands full focusing on what these guys do. However, I think that it's common knowledge that when you play every week, you have a game. I don't care who you're playing. Everyone's got guys. Everyone's got players. They got coaches. I mean, everything that we've done in the off season, in training camp and in practice, everyone else is doing the same thing. They're trying to win, right? So they're trying to get their guys in position, and so every week is a huge challenge, to prepare to play, and especially when you play this type of offense that you don't see on a weekly basis. There's some coaches that have never even coached against it. So that just adds an additional element to it. It's it's a different type of challenge, an additional set of circumstances, challenges. So, we're going to continue to educate our players and lay out the game plan and go over the personnel. Go over Air Force's personnel, their schemes, how they go about doing what they do, why they do what they do, and running those plays and talking about the approach and all that. We're going to continue to do that all the way up into the game and in the locker room before the game and until we take the field. And during the game, we're going to continue to work on Air Force, and that's where our focus is. That's where it's got to be. It's it's a 24/7 deal right here for us right now.
Coach, I know you're proud of the way you guys have come back from deficits the last 2 weeks in a row. How important is it that you quit tempting fate in that area and actually jump out to a lead and make the other team come back on you?
Yeah, the goal is not to play bad football, right? So and I've talked to the players. We talked to the players about like how do you gain consistency, because that's what we're talking about. Consistency and performance. That's how you become successful at a high level, right? And so how do you do that when it's easy to tell the guys, well, just work a little bit harder, or run a little bit faster, but that's not always the answer, right? So I believe it's in the details of what we're doing. Really, drilling down into, doing what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it, how I'm supposed to do it, and understand why it's important to do it that way every time. And when you make mistakes and you don't execute, it's obvious, it's right on the tape. We didn't do this properly, and so we have to coach the details more, and we have to embrace the details more. And it's not just on the field or in practice, it's off the field as well. Because it's all about habits. So we become more consistent overall in everything that we do. I believe it carries over to the field.
Coach, when Stephen was in here, I asked him about your halftime speech to the team where you told them, we've taken their best shot, we're good, we can fix some things. There was no panic. And Stephen, when asked to describe you, said you're cool. He said you're cool as a cucumber. Where'd you learn that? Was that something you got from your parents? Was it something you got as a player from maybe coaches you've coached under? But where does that come from?
Good question. I'm not sure about that. Like I said, I try to be myself, and I believe there's a time and a place for everything. And for me, in a game situation, when we have our guys on this sideline and their guys on the other sideline, that's not and we're doing everything we can to impose our will on that opponent and beat and win our one-on-ones and win those downs. That's not a time for me to lose my mind. There's too many things going on where we need to focus on certain things. There's operation, there's play, there's game management, there's and the players don't want to play bad. I mean, they want to play well. I mean, they want to put their best foot forward. So, what can I do? What can I do? And what can we do as a staff to help them play better? Okay, and whatever that is, I'm willing to do it. But if I don't think it's going to help, I'm not going to do it. And so I don't know whether that's being cool or whatever. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm just trying to lead in the best way that I know how, relative to what I know that my players need. This particular team, and every team is different, and every player is different. So it's important that we as coaches understand what our guys need. Our job is to teach, motivate, and develop players. And that's in practice, and that's also throughout games, during games. And so whatever we have to do to get that done and advance those guys and move those guys forward and tap them back to the center and move the needle, however you want to say it, we've got to do that. And so, that's my approach. I have confidence in our approach. I have confidence in our system and, our structure and what our goals are and like how we go about doing it. It comes down to execution, and so, that's where I keep my focus. And, sometimes everything you want to do is not the best thing to do,
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out.